You know the feeling, when your mind won't stop talking, even after the world has gone quiet. You lie awake in the dark, thoughts spinning endlessly. What if I fail? Why did I say that? Do they even care? Thought after thought, like waves crashing. But here's what Stoicism teaches. Freedom isn't about having no problems. It's about choosing what's worth thinking about. In this video, you'll discover how to detach from overthinking the Stoic way. And maybe this is where your peace begins. Get ready to reflect and be inspired. Let's begin the video now. Let's dive into the wisdom. There comes a quiet moment in every life, though not all hear it. It is not loud. It does not knock. It simply appears, softly, as if carried on the wind, brushing lightly against the soul. You are alone. And for the first time, that fact does not sting. It simply is. Imagine this. A man walks by the ocean, his shoes in his hands, the cold sand between his toes. The waves roll and roll, never ending, never beginning, carving lines into the shore, only for the tide to wash them away. He looks out at the endless blue, and for once, he does not wonder who is watching him. He does not care who approves of him. He does not even think about what he looks like, or whether he's doing the right thing. He is just there, utterly present. This moment is rare, but it is real. It is a kind of freedom that most never find because they look for it in the wrong places. When we are young, we are taught to reach outward. We are praised for pleasing, for being seen, for standing out. We learn to shape ourselves for applause. But applause fades. Eyes look away. The crowd moves on. And we, left behind, feel empty. There is a deeper way to live. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." He was not condemning us. He was simply observing a tragedy, one so common, so subtle, we often miss it. What if you could let go of that need? What if you could be enough, without the eyes, without the praise, without the applause? This is the beginning of that journey. Here, in this quiet space, I invite you to listen, not just with your ears, but with your life. Let this be a soft place to land, a sanctuary for thought. And if you feel ready, comment the words, "I am enough," without validation below. Not for the algorithm, not for me, but as a silent contract between us, that we are choosing something deeper, together. To understand why self-mastery is essential in today's chaotic world, we must first understand what Stoicism offers. It is not coldness. It is not indifference. It is not a detachment from love or life. Rather, it is a rooting, a centering, a turning inward to what cannot be shaken. We live in the noisiest age in human history. Every second, something pings. A notification, a comment, a metric of worth. We are told, in 1,000 silent ways, that we must prove ourselves again and again. That peace is something you earn by performance, by appearance, by status. But the Stoics knew a deeper peace, a kind born not from achieving more, but from needing less. Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." It is a staggering thought. Would you rather grow, or be seen as wise? Would you rather be free, or appear perfect? Modern culture rewards the mask, but Stoicism asks us to take it off, because behind that mask is where true strength lives. Self-mastery is not about controlling the world. It is about ceasing to be controlled by it. It is about no longer handing over your peace to others, to their opinions, their moods, their judgments. The Stoic sees chaos and walks calmly through it, not because they are immune, but because they have trained the mind to stay still even when the world is shaking. To be still in a storm is power. To be centered when all else is spinning, that is mastery. Let us now walk deeper into this idea, not as students collecting knowledge, but as fellow wanderers returning home. The Stoics often spoke of the inner citadel, a place within us that cannot be touched by the world. Cities may fall, fortunes may disappear, bodies may age and break, but the citadel remains. If you build it well, it will shelter you from every storm. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." These are not words of resignation. They are words of reclamation. The world can do what it will, but within, you remain sovereign. To begin mastering yourself, you must first remember what belongs to you and what does not. Epictetus made this clear in the very first lines of his Enchiridion. Some things are in our control and others not. Opinions, reputation, approval, these do not belong to you. They are lent to you by others, and they can be taken away at any moment. But your will, your reason, your ability to choose your response, this is yours. Entirely, eternally. Imagine your inner life as a fortress. Outside, winds rage. People shout. Accusations fly. Some cheer you, others mock. But inside it is still. The torch burns steadily. You are alone with your conscience. And there, you find peace. The first step, then, is this: begin to turn inward. When someone disapproves of you, return to the citadel. When someone praises you, return still. Do not be swayed either way. Let the silence inside be your compass. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Adversity is not the enemy. It is the architect. It chisels and shapes the citadel. Without it, we remain soft, undefined, vulnerable. So next time you feel the sting of judgment, the pull to conform, the ache of rejection, do not run. Go inward. Listen to the part of you that does not need to be liked. Strengthen it. Trust it. Because when the crowd fades, and it always does, you will need that strength more than their praise. Let us pause now, not to rush, not to strive, but to dwell in this truth. You are enough precisely when you no longer need to be. There are two judgments in every moment, the one the world gives you and the one you give yourself. Most live under the weight of the first. They shift their posture, their voice, their values to win that fleeting nod of approval from others. And when it doesn't come, or worse, when it turns to rejection, they fall apart. They have outsourced their peace to strangers. But the Stoic understands. The only judgment that holds weight is the one born in silence, in solitude, in that private courtroom of the soul. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. To judge rightly, one must not judge with the eyes of the crowd, but with the eyes of reason. Consider the sculptor chipping away at a block of marble. If he asked the crowd what to carve, he would produce a monstrosity, a patchwork of desires, fears, and contradictions. But if he works in silence, guided by an inner vision, something eternal may emerge. You, too, are sculpting your life. Every action is a stroke of the chisel. Whose vision are you following? The second judgment, the inner one, demands courage. It is harder, because it asks you to stand apart, to be misunderstood, to let go of being seen as good, so that you can truly be good. Seneca reminds us, a good character, when established, is not easily overthrown. But to build it, you must endure the seasons when the world mocks what it does not understand. A modern-day example, the whistleblower, the one who stands against corruption, even when it costs them everything. The crowd calls them traitor. But in time, when the dust settles, truth vindicates their stand. Their strength came not from applause, but from that quiet, inner knowing. You must ask yourself, do I seek to be justified in the moment or in the long arc of truth? The world's judgment is quick, fickle, loud. Your judgment must be slow, steady, rooted. When you no longer need the world to agree with you, you begin to listen more carefully to that deeper voice within. It does not flatter. It does not scream. It whispers, and it tells you who you really are. So the second step is this: cultivate that inner voice. Let it be your measure. Train it in reason, in virtue, in stillness. Let the world say what it will. Let your peace be built on something it cannot touch. There comes a time when you must stop waiting for the world to soothe you. You stop hoping someone will say the right words, validate your pain, fix your wounds. You stop searching the eyes of others for a reflection of your worth. You turn inward, not out of bitterness, but of wisdom. You realize that the most reliable comfort must come from within. This is emotional self-sufficiency. The Stoics knew this not as a theory, but as a way of life. They understood that to rely on others for your emotional stability is to hand over your serenity to strangers. And that is a dangerous game. Epictetus said it clearly. It is not events themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. You are not disturbed because they ignored you. You are disturbed because you believe that being ignored meant you were unworthy. You are not heartbroken because something ended. You are heartbroken because you believed it should have lasted forever. It is your interpretation that causes suffering, not the event itself. To become emotionally self-sufficient is to take back control of that interpretation. It is to stand at the gate of your own mind and decide what enters, what stays, and what gets thrown out. Imagine this. Your mind is a garden. If you don't protect it, anyone can walk in, dump their trash, plant weeds, trample the soil. But if you guard it, cultivate it, nourish it, it becomes a sanctuary, a place of beauty and strength. Emotional independence doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you feel deeply, but you do not collapse. You feel pain, but you do not become pain. You feel sadness, but you do not drown in it. You feel rejection, but you do not turn against yourself. Marcus Aurelius, while facing betrayal, plague, and war, wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." You have that power now. This moment, right here. Begin to notice. When something upsets you, ask not, "Why did they do that?" but "What belief in me is reacting to this?" You may discover an old voice. "I am not lovable unless they show it." Or, "I am only valuable if I am praised." Then, gently, but firmly, replace it. "I am already enough. My worth is not up for debate. I do not require agreement to stand in my truth." Think of Seneca, writing his letters not to impress, but to express. Alone in exile, he wrote with calm and clarity, not because life was easy, but because he had trained his soul. His peace was not built on popularity, comfort, or recognition. It was built on philosophy, on truth, on virtue. This is what emotional self-sufficiency offers you, a strength that cannot be revoked. It means you are kind, even when others are cruel, because your kindness is not a transaction, it is an expression of who you are. It means you are calm, even when chaos surrounds you, because your calm is not borrowed, it is cultivated. It means you do not need to be seen to feel seen, because you see yourself clearly. The world may continue its noise. People may still disappoint. Rejection may still come. But within you is a light that does not flicker with the wind. Build that light. Feed it with truth. Shield it with discipline. Fuel it with reflection. Then, when storms come, and they will, you will not be shaken. You will be rooted, steady, radiant. Because your peace was never out there. It was always here, waiting for you to return. In the quiet shadows of Stoic history lies a name not as frequently uttered as Seneca, Marcus, or Epictetus. Yet his life, perhaps more than any other, illustrates what it means to live unshaken by the world's disapproval. His name was Musonius Rufus, often called the Roman Socrates, a teacher, a philosopher, and a man exiled for his principles. He lived in the 1st century AD, during the reign of Nero, a time when flattery was currency and silence could mean survival. But Musonius spoke. He taught. He stood in the open and declared that virtue was the only good. That philosophy was not for the elite, but for all. That women had as much right to learn philosophy as men. These were radical ideas, and they cost him dearly. When Nero heard of him, he sent Musonius into exile. A punishment, they thought. But for Musonius, it was simply relocation. His philosophy went with him. His values, his peace, his clarity, they remained intact, because they were not dependent on Rome's approval. He once said, "We must not shape our lives to the opinion of the many, but to the requirements of truth and reason." And he lived that. In exile, he continued to teach, to grow food with his hands, to write letters, to guide others. The soil beneath him changed. The sky changed. But he did not. That is the heart of Stoic strength. Not the power to avoid hardship, but the power to remain yourself within it. Let us walk through one of the known events of his exile. He was sent to the barren island of Gyros, a place so desolate that even the sea winds howled with loneliness. No great libraries, no public forums, just rocks, salt air, and silence. For most, this would feel like obliteration. For Musonius, it became a monastery of the soul. He tended the earth with his own hands. He taught the few who would listen. He practiced what he preached: simplicity, self-discipline, gratitude. He wrote the little remains of his original works. What we know of him comes from the reverence of his students, chief among them, Epictetus. Epictetus would later reflect on Musonius as the embodiment of Stoicism, not because he was celebrated, but because he was steadfast. Let us pause here. When you lose everything the world says you need, position, comfort, recognition, what remains? If your identity is built on titles, then exile destroys you. If your identity is built on truth, then exile reveals you. Musonius was revealed. He did not stop living because he was no longer seen. He did not shrink because he was pushed aside. He expanded inward. This is why we remember him, not because he ruled an empire, but because he ruled himself. You may never face exile like Musonius, but you may face something quieter: social rejection, misunderstanding, loneliness. In those moments, his story whispers to you, do not be afraid of losing their approval. Be afraid of losing yourself. There are those who burn bright when all lights are on them, and there are those who shine even in the dark. Musonius was the latter, and you can be too. We often think strength is loud, that it stands tall, never flinching, never doubting. But the truth, if you sit with it long enough, is quieter, more intimate, and more tender. Real strength is not the absence of struggle. It's the grace with which you endure it. And if you've ever tried to live according to Stoic principles, you know it is not easy. You know the moments when you catch yourself craving approval, when a compliment feels like sunshine and a critique feels like thunder. You know the moments when you try to practice indifference to things outside your control, but find your heart stirred anyway. The anger still burns. The sadness still weighs. That is not failure. That is life. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." But he also admitted, again and again, how difficult it was to live well. He was not above emotion. He was a student of it. We are all students here. And sometimes we must be willing to sit with our weakness, not to judge it, but to understand it. To say, yes, I still care too much about what they think. And then, gently, to return our focus inward. The journey of no longer needing validation is not a sudden awakening. It is a long, quiet unfolding. It happens over years, over disappointments, over solitude. It is 1,000 tiny choices to let go. Let go of trying to impress. Let go of trying to control how others see you. Let go of making your worth dependent on your reputation. This is not easy work. It is invisible work, and it is some of the most sacred work a human being can do. Seneca wrote, "As long as you need validation from others, you make yourself their slave." That sounds harsh, but he meant it as a liberation. When you no longer need their validation, you are free to live with integrity. So what if you stumble? So what if you fail? That too is part of the path. Stoicism is not a mask to hide behind. It is a mirror to see yourself clearly. It does not demand perfection. It invites presence. It asks of you not that you feel nothing, but that you choose, again and again, to return to your center, to not be ruled by what is outside you. And if today you slipped, if you caught yourself yearning for praise or shrinking from rejection, remember, every breath is a chance to return. Breathe, be here, and begin again. There is beauty in trying. There is nobility in striving to live a life of virtue, even when the world does not notice. There is courage in walking the inner path, even when it is lonely. If you have been trying to be calm in the face of chaos, trying to stay kind when others are cruel, trying to release what you cannot control, then hear this. You are already walking the Stoic path, and that is enough. What remains when we strip away the noise? What endures, not through force or fame, but through quiet truth? The Stoics asked this, not once, but always. For them, philosophy was not a profession, it was a way to be, a way to live, a daily, deliberate choice to anchor oneself in virtue rather than vanity. And if this journey, the path away from validation, has revealed anything, it is this. You do not need their applause to live well. You do not need their approval to be at peace. You do not need their recognition to be whole. Because the truest recognition is not found in the eyes of others, but in the clarity of your own conscience. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." And what is that philosophy if not the choice, each day, to return to the only domain truly ours, our thoughts, our actions, our will? This is not an idea for a season. It is a principle for life. Validation is seductive. It can feel like sunlight, but it is fleeting. It comes and goes with the moods and opinions of the crowd. Virtue, on the other hand, is enduring. It is the sun that burns within. There are many things we cannot control: the markets, the weather, the passing years, the judgments of others. But there is something we can, something the Stoics return to again and again: the state of our soul. When Seneca was told his critics had mocked him behind his back, he replied, "Let them be angry with me, so long as I can be at peace with myself." That is a principle to live by, to be at peace with yourself, not because you are perfect, but because you are sincere, not because the world agrees, but because you know who you are. And so, as we draw this reflection to a close, carry this thought with you. You are not here to please the world. You are here to be whole within yourself. You are here to act with justice, to speak with truth, to love with depth, to walk with humility. This world will press you. It will tempt you to mold yourself to its preferences, to bend, to perform, to chase the applause that fades with the wind. But you are free. You are free to say no, to step back, to return to your values, to live not for show, but for substance. This is the Stoic promise, that nothing outside you can harm the essence of who you are, unless you give it permission. So do not give it permission. Stand firm, in your center, in your clarity, in your calm. And when the world is loud, be the quiet. When the world is chaotic, be the order. When the world demands masks, be the mirror. Let them see, through your life, not your words, what it means to live without the need for validation. That is the deepest kind of strength. That is the Stoic path. And that is enough. In this moment, as the world rushes on, let us pause. Let us breathe. Let the noise of the world fade into the background as we come together in this quiet space. It is a rare thing in this age to be still. Yet, in stillness, we find clarity. Let your thoughts rest. Let your body soften. For this is the nature of true peace, not to escape the storm, but to find stillness within it. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. And so we sit in the quiet, with our minds aware of the tempest outside, but unshaken within. Can you feel it? The quiet space within you, the calm at your core? It is always there. It is the constant amidst the changing tide of thoughts and emotions. It is here, in this stillness, that we reconnect with ourselves. And as we sit together, let the practice of Stoicism settle in your soul. Let it not be something you chase or strive for. Let it be something you return to again and again, each time you are caught in the storm of external expectations. Remember the strength of Musonius, who stood firm in his exile, the wisdom of Seneca, who found peace within his own mind, the calm of Epictetus, who never wavered in his belief that our happiness is within our own control. You, too, can find this stillness. You, too, can anchor yourself in your own mind. And when the world presses against you, you will remain unshaken. Breathe in, breathe out. In the stillness, you are free. Now, in this moment of silence, let your heart return to peace. Let go of the need to be validated. Let go of the urge to prove anything. You are enough as you are. Let this truth settle deep within you. The world will continue to move, to change, to push and pull. But you have the power to remain still. And that stillness is your greatest strength. You do not need approval. You do not need praise. You only need your own quiet truth. This is the Stoic promise. to stand firm in your own being, regardless of the world around you. Let the stillness fill you. Let it be enough. As you sit here, in the stillness, in the quiet of your own being, remember that this is not an end. This is only the beginning. The Stoic path is not a destination, it is a journey. And like all journeys, it is not always smooth. There will be moments of turbulence, of doubt, of distraction. But if you continue to return to this practice, this stillness, you will find your way. If you have found something in this reflection that resonates with you, then consider joining this community. This journey towards inner peace, clarity, and strength is one that we walk together. But remember, this is not about approval. This is not about applause or validation. This is about walking the path with integrity, with wisdom, with presence. If you feel that this is a path you wish to continue, then consider subscribing to this channel. Not for the sake of numbers, not for the sake of recognition, but to keep returning to this place of stillness, to continue your practice, to continue learning what it means to live with virtue and to find strength within yourself, no matter what the world may say. Your journey is yours alone, but know that you are not walking it alone. We are all walking this path, one step at a time, together. Let this be your reminder. You are enough, exactly as you are. And this journey you are on, it is enough. So, if you wish, subscribe. Let us continue this journey toward the stillness, toward the calm, toward the freedom of living true to our nature. Until then, be still, be strong, and know that you are already enough.